Jesus, we should have been 2 hours ago.
Do you still have that file?
Yeah.
All right, save that.
What bit do you want of that file?
We're gonna make it the social tweet.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
The part where he calls you a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They'll see that bit. They'll see that bit. What protein bars do you buy?
Whatever they had, there was some Mars bar protein bars.
Oh, mate, that's all I get in Malta.
Yeah?
They're too good.
Fucking good.
They're too
They
good.
get them in M&M's as well.
Yeah, and Snickers.
Really good.
You've really got to.
Snickers is now.
Salted caramel. They got a salted caramel Mars
hate
version
caramel.
too.
I don't have the knowledge of the protein bars that you guys have. This is impressive.
But it's.
Do you guys have Cliff Bars in Europe?
Mm-mm.
Cliff Bars are my jam. Like the white chocolate macadamia nut Cliff Bar. Bangs.
Sounds disgusting.
Oh, no, dude. You got to try it.
Yeah.
I've never had a
When
Cliff
you guys
bar.
are in the States, so like, 8-9 months from now in Dallas, I'll hook it up.
Yeah, we're
Cliff
close.
Bars.
Do you mean for the major that he won't be at?
Yeah.
No, I meant for IEM Dallas.
Oh,
I'll be
okay.
there,
You
yeah.
won't be at that one.
Nice to try and fucking trap me.
Oh,
Weaseled my way out of that one.
yeah, you did. You did. So surely FaZe don't lose to Saul. Surely.
I think they
Oh
will.
God.
You can't play.
I think
you
they will.
No,
You
no,
can't
they
play
won't.
Nuke
I think
on
they
a
will.
stage like that.
They won't.
They will.
No, wait.
It's
We
phase on a
have to.
stage. It's phase on a stage.
We have to talk about the Liquid game first.
No, you mean we have to talk about G2's destruction, right? That's the most exciting.
Let's get
thing that
G2 out of
happened.
the way first.
And Spirit losing.
Actually,
No.
no, let's get Liquid out of the way
It's
first.
fresh.
Emotionally
it's,
charged.
It's
yeah.
fresh in our
Emotionally
heads,
charged.
bro. Like, I couldn't believe what was happening because we're sitting there, we're watching, like we go to the desk because we think it's GG on the new crown. We see it's 5v3, they cleared yard, right? That's it. Game's over. Then I come and I hear Scrawny and Launders casting like Liquid just won the round. I'm like, how the fuck did they win the round? So I go on my phone on YouTube, I rewind, and I see Brokey trying to fucking kiss Robs' ass on ramp for some reason. Where they to play a bait setup where Brokey dies first, so the ramp player is still alive. I mean, it's one of those things where like there's flaws you can find in the setup or him standing there, but in reality, how did they not get a single kill in that round?
Dude, that when I watched that round, I was like, FaZe actually should have won every single fight that they got in that round.
Yeah.
Except the one in control side windows was like 50-50. I think that was Frozen
Yeah.
coming up the stairs. But every other kill was like, that should have been a FaZe kill.
Have you not seen the round?
Can I just say that I was commentating the other game?
Okay.
So I
the
didn't get
details
to.
haven't-
I didn't get to watch Inferno.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch Nuke.
Okay.
And I tuned in
You wish you didn't
after I
watch
got
Mirage.
back from the venue, and the score was 5-1, and Justin had just done his
Okay.
sick round,
Okay.
and I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I'm walking around the room getting it ready for this, and the half just keeps going. I'm like, "Okay, nice. This will be an easy win." And then I keep setting stuff up, making my bed so the hotel room looks nice and pretty, and they're winning a couple rounds. And I'm like, it's only a matter of time. They only need 5 kills in one round of
Yeah.
Counter-Strike. It's all going to be okay.
You can luck yourself into a round with.
Also, Alex even messaged in our group like, I'm getting a little bit nervous about Liquid.
That was at 4-12.
At 4-12, and both me and Jason.
That's when you
are
get
like,
nervous.
Both
4-12.
and me and Jason are like, nah. Jason's like, nah. This is the new Liquid. And I'm like, nah. They're all right. Like, they're too good to choke this away.
I was talking to Harry at the same time, and it got to about 12-7, and then Harry said he started to get a bit worried, and I was like, "Nah, it's fine. It's all good. Don't worry about it." I said, "Twist is too good. It's going to be
Honestly, I
okay."
got worried when Brokey flipped them off. When he was like,
Oh, that
when
was
they're all,
so
like,
good.
when they're all laughing and having a fun, like they were enjoying being down 11-1.
Yeah.
But
They
it's
were
so
having
crazy.
fun.
You're
They're
down
having-
11-1. They win the pistol, and he's like,
just flips
"Fuck
off.
you."
I like that. That's just the most emotion we get out of Brokey ever. Is that moment?
Who do you think that was directed at? Was it at Mitha? Mitha was the
I think
loudest,
so,
right?
I think so, yeah.
I think, I think so. Yeah, probably, or just like.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I
I
think it
guess.
wasn't even directed at anyone except I think it was directed at his team. I think that was like a release of tension because everyone down the line laughed.
Yeah, but I think it was.
that was just like
I
a
think they
moment.
were a bit annoyed maybe by his screaming
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that. So
I don't think he did it on purpose.
because he wouldn't direct it, I don't think so at the players of Liquid,
No, no.
right? Like that's not who Brokey really
why
is.
not?
And even if he did,
Yeah, I
who
mean,
cares?
Twist was on their team.
Well, they weren't
like, Naf is,
teabagging him or anything. They're not like disrespectful players. They're not knifing him and
Sure,
shit.
sure.
They weren't
No-
laughing.
no
Shout
one-
out to Modesty one time.
no one was trash talking on Liquid either
No.
while they were like owning them. So just the coach, maybe
Yeah.
from the noise that he was making. But
Which
yeah.
is, it's going to happen. But that's great. It's funny to see Brokey. Like, that's the thing with Brokey being such a polarizing character. We know that he comms a lot in game, but when we talk to him in interviews or the lobby or whatever, doesn't say fucking boo to a goose.
No.
Yeah.
And then that's the scoreline, and that's the way up. It's so funny to see.
And he flips them off in the end as well.
yeah, which I think is
I
sick.
did again.
Yeah, I didn't know.
see.
I saw it on Twitter.
Good
Yeah,
for
but
him.
I think it's fucking sick. But look, I think that, like, for me, I've like disassociated with reality. So now that results happened, I don't feel anything. I just like it's like
And suddenly I felt
Doesn't
nothing.
make you feel no.
no, like I'm just like
Dude.
yeah, okay.
But it was one of those situations. Me and Jacob were standing there after Nuke, and we're setting the scene perfectly. You know, yeah, it's
If
going to
he
be
does say
about
so
energy, right? The adrenaline is there. But what if you start losing 5-1, 6-1? You know, could you have it then in the tank? I don't think FaZe has it if that happens. I think Liquid wins. Jacob said, it's going to be a close one. Or Trace asked me, is it going to be a close one? I'm like, no, Liquid's going to own them. Something like that. And then the game is unfolding, and you're like, oh, it
I
feels
fucking
good.
nailed this
It
one.
feels good to be right, you know? Like, and then all of a sudden, in the second half, right? This is the worst thing. FaZe didn't believe they could win until I think it went into OT. Because at no point
Well, they couldn't technically win until it went
outside of
into OT.
outside of that pistol round, every round that they were winning, there was no hype, there was no yelling. They were just like fucking playing. Even Carrigan said in the post-game interview, like, yeah, it felt like we were in an FPL game.
Yeah.
You know, people just doing their thing and singing. And I think that that map perfectly like describes pressure and what pressure does to players.
Liquid's
and to
aim
teams
started to look
and-
so bad. Like
and timings were off in the splits. And,
the thing that from that interview though, when you guys were doing it, the thing that Carrigan said that stood out to me the most is we're throwing like all the structure out the window.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
just micromanaging as if we have a stand-in.
Sure.
And I was
That was
like,
wild.
Wow,
Yeah,
I can't believe. But like he goes, and he even followed up with the qualifier. Yeah, my game might take a hit, but this is what we need to do.
I think he was being bluntly honest
Yeah.
about it as well. Like even not mentioning any player specifically, but said Rain felt more comfortable when there was more structure. Rain didn't like when they didn't have too much structure and, you know, players would just go search here and here and here and Rain didn't feel comfortable. So I feel like Rain has obviously been with Kerrigan for a long, long time. He wants that structure. He wants the micromanagement. He wants the players around him not to fuck around basically and do whatever they want to do. And I think, you know, without mentioning any players, I could almost feel from Kerrigan's perspective, you know, that there was certain players who is given too much freedom, you know, within the structure they built, and now he's taking that structure away from them, or the freedom away from them, by micromanaging in every single scenario. And I think from what I know Kerrigan back in the days, and when I played with him, even like his micromanaging was his strength suit in terms of being an in-game leader. You know, that's where he really differentiated himself. Whereas I think his general calling is obviously good, you know, but micromanagement mid-round, that's when he was so much better than everyone else.
So this is what, after Justin won Katowice with FaZe standing in, I spoke to him about it. I was like, what was Kerrigan like as an in-game leader? He's like, he just told me what to do every round. And I just fucking did it. And I was like, wow, okay.
It was the same with Glaive back in the days. Like, as a player, you didn't have to think. Like, he would tell you where to go, where to point, where to aim, and what to think in the middle of a round.
Hell yeah.
Even if you played in that, no, it was fantastic. Like,
that's who you needed, Jason, to be a star.
Hell yeah. That's my kind of
that's why he made, you know, bang average players look pretty good at times.
Yeah,
you know? I think it's a nice feeling. You know, in a 3v3, he would tell you where to look, what to do, and what to do if you were to get a kill. Like, you always be one step ahead. And I think Kerrigan is
I think what I take away from that quote from Kerrigan in that interview is like, that has got to be when you do something like that. That's got to be like a feeling within FaZe that struggled for so long of like it's got to be a eureka moment, right? Like, oh, it's clicking.
Yeah,
back
but
in.
it's so hard, I reckon, to be an in-game leader and do that all the time, because eventually it's going to grind down a little bit, right? To come up with constant new ideas and be trying to solve
he said
the puzzle.
that in an interview as well. He was running out of energy, basically, right?
Yeah,
he didn't have
it's
any.
going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think what he said in that interview as well that I really liked was, I think he said that we had a pretty good game against Vitality. I don't know exactly what he said, but like he was saying that they had a chance. And I cast that series. I think they did have a chance to beat Vitality. They could have got it done on Dust too, I think. And I forget what the third map was, but when it went the distance.
Anubis? No, they banned that.
No, it wasn't Anubis is the third.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure you're right. It was.
because they had to beat Vertigo against Vitality.
Yeah, it was a different veto than it was last time round, I think. Yeah. But that was like the third straight series that Vitality beat them, but they actually put in a pretty good form, I thought. And it's like a better looking FaZe than we've seen. Obviously, it couldn't be worse than losing to NIP at Blast.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
And that's what he even mentioned. He even mentioned NIP. But I think what he said, and this is going to sound a little bit weird. So I think he said about Rain is like, he was like having to focus too much on nades and shit, and he just likes to follow his intuition.
Yeah.
There's difference between playing with structure and micromanaging people.
Yeah.
Structure is there so you don't have to micromanage people, right? Like you set shit up and then they have their responsibilities within that and they need to take those, and that's pretty much it. When you had to micromanage people, that's when you're like, okay, now you have to pick, now you have to do this. And I think he realized that because FaZe, the players played with no confidence because they were starting to, you know, lose and shit, and people weren't taking initiative, and, you know, they weren't going for some of those duels that they usually take, and then that's a problem. Then his style doesn't really work, So he felt like, I guess, he had to take matters into his own hands when it comes to that, and it's definitely, even if they lost to Liquid, I think that was still a better phase than what we saw at a couple of prior tournaments.
I mean, regardless of what it was, I think there's probably phases somewhere in this hotel in a room, just like we are, maybe having a drink.
Hopefully.
Who the fuck knows? But they're sitting there and they're saying that's the phase that we remember.
Yeah,
that's the phase
yeah.
we're supposed to be, boys. Like, remember that feeling? Remember the way we played in this comeback? Remember the way we just set up a brick wall and they couldn't penetrate our defense? Like, remember all that shit, because that's how we play on the stage.
Yeah, well, they're going to be instantly, like, the fact they get Saw as their opening game on the stage is great for them, because they like, playing on a stage, when I did this little in-game leader roundtable the other day, they all acknowledged that playing on a stage is different. They were saying that there's like rounds that you can call in a studio that you can't call on a stage, right? And vice versa. And when you go up against Saw, who's not really experienced in that environment whatsoever, and the map that they've been the best on is Nuke, which is the most tactical and also requires the sound to be at its absolute pitch perfect, right? In a studio, you're not missing any sound cues. On a stage, you're missing sound cues, and Carrigan and Co are going to know how to toy with you with that. So I think it's great if we get a phase Vitality rematch in the semi, and it's anything like what we had in the group stage game, because that'd be fucking sick.
Has Saul played any stage games?
No.
Where were they in London? They were in London, right? They lost a phase.
They didn't get to play.
They didn't make it to the stage in London.
Even that stage is,
in London.
It was a big studio.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, like it's interesting because they've played in a ton of high pressure games, right? Like qualification for the major.
Sure.
Yeah, but not crowd games.
Yeah, not crowd games.
That's
And
the
like
problem.
they were in the final 2-2 game in the Swiss system.
Well, they're
at the
definitely
major
picking
against
Nuke.
Navi.
They're definitely
Yeah. They shouldn't pick anything else.
Nah.
If they do it, they're mind gaming themselves.
Oh, they got
But
2
I
days
think-
to think about it.
Here's the thing, like, I think their problem might be they'll get too excited on the stage, right? There's going to be a lot of shouting information, behind, all
Sure.
of that, right? Because the crowd carries you, like it gives you so much adrenaline, like it's hard.
It infuses you with energy.
Exactly, right? And
They won't be the favorites either. With the
yeah,
crowd
and
favorites.
I think the phase guys obviously should and will be more poised, right, and more
Yeah.
calm. And I think Kerrigan could just make a game plan around that, just like throwing some of those small fakes mid-late round after you take map control. The pressure is on them to make a move, unless even they do something before that and you just get free kills. But Saul has played some good Counter-Strike, dude. They even beat Navi today on you.
Yeah, that's the thing. The worst part, I don't disagree with anything any of you are saying, but I still feel like the level of Counter-Strike Saw have played
it's
is
been good.
high enough
Yeah.
to be like, even if they were to drop 10-15%, it's not guaranteed FaZe will play well, just because they did well today. It's not guaranteed that they'll all of a sudden, find this rejoice and happiness and play the old FaZe way. I know they did it in this game and maybe on the one map here on Mirage, when they come back, but I think Saw have played so well that even if they were to drop in level, they still would be competitive in a game like that.
My big worry for Saw is the two players that I think are most important for them if they want to beat top teams on a stage, Jerks and Erzdos.
Sure.
Are like, that's where all the pressure is going to fall on their shoulders to perform the way they have been, and they're not experienced in the
Well,
environment.
none of them are. Like, even Barry can't even help as the coach. Like, he can't offer anything.
No,
in that
Roman,
environment.
he's what,
No, but-
34, 33? He has not been there himself.
Might as well just say he was 45, man. I don't know if he's, I don't think
No,
he's
but
that
I think if you're 34, is he actually 34?
I don't think he's
I have no idea.
Roman, I think
Roman
he's like 30.
Neutiras.
30.
No.
30-ish?
no,
31.
they're over 30, I think.
They must
but,
be, yeah.
But not, I think Snappy is the oldest at 34.
But I think with that age and playing for as long as they have, there's like, you're not going to be familiar with the environment, but there's probably a comfort, I think, that comes with that age of where you can
Hopefully, yeah.
neutralize it a little bit better than the younger guys, right?
Fair.
32.
32.
Doing our fact checking.
Close. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, I don't think he'd like Jacob that you're, saying he's almost as old as me,
Sure
right?
is,
Like,
yeah. How old are
fucking
you?
hell.
37?
35. Now, Jason.
Always
Jason-
flattering.
Jason catching
I
straps.
don't like this game.
But I think to end the note on Liquid, I had like even on the desk I said it's a little bit mixed because they looked incredible this tournament. Like they looked incredible with the new roster. Structure is there, great foundations, good T sides, good CT sides. Ultimate is amazing.
He went from
Yeah.
fuck is this guy to oh my god, this guy's awesome.
Yeah, and the other players are doing their part as well. Twist is playing well from the in-game leader role, all that stuff. But the game against FaZe today was the first time they were really under any pressure.
They had to come back in
and
quite
that
a few maps.
And
though.
they really got tested. Yes, but it's all map. Okay, I can get maybe a couple of the maps in the lower bracket, like against Liquid, against Furia, and against
Even Complexity today, first map, they
yeah,
showed lost
exactly,
energy,
right?
Ancient
Like
had to
they
come back
had
out,
they
yeah.
had some of that, but I think for them to crumble.
It's hard to hype that one up at the moment.
I know.
It's hard to
Yeah,
hype that
but-
point up. I'm with you.
No, I'm okay, but it's like for them to crumble, so much. To lose the game in the end in that fashion after being able to claw back on Nuke and everything, it leaves you with a shitty taste in your mouth after everything
True.
great that you
But I
felt.
almost feel
Like
like-
you had a great 5-course meal, and then dessert comes in and it's like shit and makes
Had
you
some
sick.
Mexican food, didn't you?
Yeah,
Right?
A good margarita, a good thing, a plate of tacos, and then all of a sudden those
Some
beans.
unwashed
fucking
kidney
beans.
beans.
Yeah, those
Those
beans
fucking
just
unwashed
really get
kidney
you.
Those
beans.
beans fucking
I feel like that
ruined
could
me.
have happened to anyone. Like, I
What,
don't
the
think that's a
beans?
liquid, I know, yeah, that too.
Because it did happen to a lot of people.
It happened to a
But I don't
couple
think that's
people, yeah.
a liquid issue, right? I think had it been G2 could have lost to FaZe in the same fashion today.
Look, for me, it's happened.
Yeah.
So it's happened.
And it doesn't
but-
make you feel anything, yeah?
No, nothing. I'm disassociated with life. But I am interested with what type of ramifications it will have on the team in the short to long term, right? Because I think Twist in the post-game interview acknowledged that it was like Nuke was good, he was happy with that, and the event overall is good for the team. But with that type of a loss, right? I think he even tweeted saying like that one's on him, like it's a learning experience or whatever. He'll take the blame for that one. But it's knowing that when you were in such a power position, they were shitting their pants. Like watching their aim in certain rounds as they're pushing in, like they were just holding down mouse one and thinking, "Oh, we're gonna get the kill."
Please get the kill.
But
Yeah.
They also won the first round, after overtime, right?
Yep.
Straight out of overtime,
Yeah.
they win a round losing one player. All of a sudden
And
they can
that's
play
the only
Counter-Strike
last
again.
round they win.
Exactly,
Pressure.
pressure gone,
Pressure, but I think that's the learning experience, is sort of understanding that the most pressure you can put on a player, like on T side, is when he has to make like decisions,
yeah.
and it's like default, and every little peak, like every little micro play matters and can lose you the round. So I think some of the learning will be, and that's what Carrigan used to, look no further than the fucking final winning round in Cologne 2 years ago. What is it? It's a fucking the Canada strat, right? Which is a freeze time call on Nuke. Why? Because you take that element out of players' hands.
Yeah.
Like they're doing something that they've done the exact same way fucking 100 times before,
Yeah.
right? And maybe you don't think it's the ideal call. You would like to play default and get information and outsmart the CTs, bait the rotations and whatnot, but sometimes you just have to fucking send it because maybe you feel that your players are losing a little bit of confidence.
Yeah.
Maybe you know that that's just how it works from experience. You'd rather go out that way, because on one side you can't blame really Twists and Liquid, for taking timeouts and just continuing to play slow with different variations and wanting to split. They're good at that. That's why you're
what got 'em-
thinking
it's what
you
got
just
'em to
need
this
one
point.
round.
Yeah.
It needs to work one
Yeah.
time. You'll get it. Right, but then looking back, you might think, shit, if we sent it a couple of
They
times,
never got any
after we
plans.
lose the
Yeah.
default a couple of times, we might as well try to
Yeah.
switch it up and do something. We just need like one good entry. We have this kid on the op, right, who can win a post plan 3v4 or something. Like, give your players a bit of a better situation where they didn't even get the bomb down at all.
Exactly.
That was the problem.
And that puts you like with max loss bonus in the like in a terrible position. You have a rifle round, oh now we're partial, rifle round partial. So I think you bang on. Like if they'd been able to get into a site, there's a much bigger chance that somebody pops off in that post plant situation and they could have won it than just getting picked apart one at a time. And then FaZe getting to build the confidence by taking these duels, and they're just as good at heads up Counter-Strike, right? And I think right now we've got quite a few teams with similar identities in that sense. Like I don't know if we want to keep talking about Liquid, because I want to start talking.
Well,
about
you got
G2.
teams with similar identities. That's a great transition. What's a team with a similar identity?
G2, but they hit harder than everybody else at the moment.
Yeah,
It
they
is
fucking
fucking
do.
remarkable.
It's insane.
It fucking does.
Adding Malbs to that lineup, that's
Malbs is
golden.
crazy.
Yeah.
And his success activates Hunter's success, who's experiencing a resurgence. Nico looks like he's one of the best players in the world again. Monacy is the best player in the world.
Honestly, looks worse
Honestly,
than
Yeah.
but okay, just
He
before
looks
people
worse,
lose their
but
minds. when he was on that insane, when he was single-handedly
it
carrying
was the
them,
backpack,
Yeah.
right? Like he doesn't have to do. So I guess he's not even in those situations where he goes for it as
He
much
doesn't
because
need to.
he doesn't see people as much.
It's got to be such a
He
relief.
I mean,
Yeah.
Elige is probably
It's
fucking
almost
jealous.
map dependent who's going to play well.
that's what Nico
Yeah,
said today
That's what Nico said, yeah.
in the interview. He
Yeah.
said like, I asked him like, you guys all seem to be in this flow state and each round it's a different player stepping up. He said it's like map dependent a little bit. Miles gets a lot of space on Ancient,
Yeah.
Mirage as well, Nico some other maps. Yeah, he mentioned pretty much everyone. Mones, he always has his moves on every map because he's an opper, but
I'm just happy he said, during the interview as well, we asked him about his individual level, and he said like he was considering to move into the in-game leading role, which we discussed, but during, I think it was a Pro League or
yeah,
something.
he said that Pro
yeah.
League, yeah.
Exactly. He said during Pro League, he felt like individually it was starting to click again, and that made him think, listen, I still got another good year in me, or maybe 2 years before.
Is that when he got on the snap tap tech, Jacob?
Well, I have no fucking idea, and
There
I
he is.
have no idea what that even is. I
Get on the
honestly-
snap tap tech.
I haven't touched Counter-Strike in a month and a half.
Get off the bike
on the
and
bike.
get in it, mate.
Bro,
What-
you could probably play a pug on the bike. Have you ever tried that for your stream?
No. That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
That would be fun, yeah.
That's
I
why
gotta get that
you're-
going.
That's why you're so much happier, Jacob. You haven't played
I'm a
CS
happy guy,
for,
yeah, exactly.
for a
It
month
makes
and a
it
half.
so
You're,
good.
you're
You
actually
just-
not fucking a pain in the ass to be around.
You're streaming yourself on the bike as opposed to in
Oh,
the server.
you could actually. Oh, you could fulfill one of my dreams in Counter Strike.
Oh, this is
That
going to get
sounds
weird.
disgusting.
What's
Okay,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
You could actually have a setup where you code your bike as you pedal to be your move forward.
Jesus.
So the more you want to move on the map,
How old are you?
37.
37.
Gotcha.
37.
Yeah.
But the more you want to move on the map, you got to fucking put some work in. You got to pedal. You got to
Sure.
get across there, and
You
you'd
can't
be, you'd
move
be
at
fine
different
that.
speeds,
Sure.
though.
Whoa, what if you? I don't. You probably can.
Bro,
Technology's
dude,
pretty
don't
crazy.
you fucking know, Jacob? This motherfucker could only play surf maps if he was doing that. You know how much he fucking cycles?
Well, I know it'd be a good test.
He
of
cycles like
discipline.
500 kilometers every
Yeah,
hour.
no, I'm
Okay,
just
but it would
saying.
have to be
Every
there'd have
hour.
to be a resting pace that wouldn't move him at all. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. Because you'd have to keep
Well,
pedaling.
look, keep in mind this dream of mine is only.
Why is this a dream?
It's
of
a stupid dream.
Because
Let's be honest.
It is a terrible dream. It is a really stupid
Is this
dream.
really a dream of yours?
No, I'm exaggerating the dream part, but I think it'd be funny.
Because otherwise,
It's
I
a
think we might have
thought,
to get
you
I
you
know.
think
checked
I've only
out.
been thought about it with like
Thought you were going the way
they
of
have
Joe
the
Biden,
running
mate.
treadmills that do movement in video games.
That's stupid
Okay.
too.
And I did the physical activity too. No, it is stupid, but it'd be funny to see a show match of gamers where you were just like, if you want to go for this clutch, you got to actually hustle, or you can sit in this corner.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Pitch
Yeah.
it to someone.
All right, yeah. Maybe it can be ESL content, Jason.
All right.
See if you can get it in a pro league or something.
I'll do my best.
So I just mentioned Joe Biden. I just want to let our lovely viewers know. Last video we did, we had Harry here. We were just
Okay.
we were just talking shit the whole time. We didn't talk about Counter Strike at all, which I think we established, but some people didn't get it. But Harry and I were doing some co-streaming of the Blast stuff. He kept jumping in, and we were just talking about the woke mind virus,
Okay.
and we were talking about American politics, but in a satirical way because we know nothing about American politics.
Mhm.
And the last episode we mentioned Kamala Harris. Is that her name?
Kamala.
And someone in the
DEI
comments,
hire.
someone in the comments thought we were
did you do
genuinely.
that,
Someone
for
thought
fuck's sake?
we were. What did he do?
Don't just keep going. Move past it.
Someone thought that we were
Oh.
genuinely endorsing.
Sure.
Like Harry and I know nothing about America, but we don't
I
care
don't
about
even know
politics
what
at
it
all.
means.
It's so fucking. It's too good. It's too good. So we control people with woke mind virus, Joe Biden, Donald Trump.
Oh, good. I'm glad the YouTube algorithm is going to catch all of these words and just shove us right to the bottom.
It's too good.
Yeah, we are kind of fucked.
It's almost as good as G2 to get us back on page.
It's almost as good as G2, but not quite as good as G2.
You know-
'cause God damn it, their score lines are fucking unreal.
It was
Yeah.
two best of threes were against Spirit and against
Their
Astralis.
wins against Spirit and Astralis were like 13-1.
They lost
13-3.
the map against.
but they
Australia.
lost the map against
did-
Astralis.
I
but
tweeted
the two
today.
maps they won were 13-1 and 13-4.
I tweeted it
13-3.
today.
13-3.
Where is it? Hold up. Yeah.
It was it's crazy, but you know that G2 over the course of 18 pistol rounds are 15-3
Yeah, that's
in
pretty
the
good.
tournament,
Individual
and they
skill.
haven't.
Yeah.
Yes, and they haven't lost the second round once
Here's-
out of
I've been,
the 15
I've been
times.
hearing for decades that pistol rounds are random. So
Here's
bullshit.
coin toss. Here's their scoreline since they lost to Solar. 13-3, 13-1, 13-1. They lost to Astralis, a game they should have won
Sure.
on Mirage, but they lost 10-13. 13-3, 13-6, 13-1.
It's so mental.
So many 13-1s, gentleman's sweep. You know?
But there's
Yeah.
been like stomps, like that last map that we were just talking about with Liquid versus FaZe should have been another stomp. Really.
Maybe in
Right.
your dreams.
Yeah, yeah. But there's been a lot of like stomps this event because Alex and I casted 5 back-to-back maps, and the highest scoreline in one of those maps was 13-5.
That's kind of fucked, yeah.
Like they
we
were
had a lot
just
of we had a
stomps.
lot of stumps too.
And
Yeah.
there's 6
We
maps,
didn't.
Yeah.
6 maps out of the 7 in the pool that are T-sided. The only one that isn't is Nuke. The next closest that isn't, this is with combination of group stage and play-in, and the next one that was closest was Mirage. Everything else T-sided.
That's kind of cool.
That the T-sided?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because of Snap Tap.
You think so?
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna
think
go set up Snapchat when I get home. I have the wooden keyboard.
It's the Molotov, no? Like the update with the Molotov is Inferno related. I feel the Molotov CT side is
definitely
less
nerfs
powerful.
it,
but I
Banana, you
haven't-
name it.
I was surprised when that change happened. I don't
Yeah.
know. What did you feel about the Molotov when the change happened? Because we had a conversation on the podcast. I don't want to spoil it, but what were your thoughts on that Molotov change?
I liked it. I thought the Molotov.
But how
was-
did you think it was going to change the way the game was played or the game like in a?
I instantly just thought Banana was going to be more pleasant to be around. You know, that was my
Everyone
initial
was
thought. You
focused
know,
on Banana for that.
yeah, I felt like it wouldn't change that much. You know, it's not like it wouldn't be a game changing thing. Or it wouldn't like screw the dynamics of what is T sided, CT sided. But it's still a big update. You know,
I haven't asked any players specifically about it, but I feel like if it was like unreasonably broken, we would be hearing a little bit more complaints. But that doesn't seem to
Say
be
that
a
to the
talking
creek,
point
you
that
know,
changed.
yeah.
Like no one seems to be bothered by it. It's just a new reality.
Yeah, but the players, this is with the same with formats and everything. Like, and with the major, and what happens is once it happens to them, or they're in the process of realizing that this is about to happen to them, they start talking about it. But they just do the thing. They're like, "Oh, what's the format?" You could get half the players in here. Half of them would know, half of them wouldn't. I remember talking to Flusher about formats. He's like, "I got no fucking idea. I just play the next fucking game."
Shows up.
Yeah,
Like they don't really think about those things. And with this, it's like, well, does it matter? They probably think, does it matter what I think, right? Some of them will talk about these things, or do I just shut the fuck up and play with it?
I think that's why the coaches are there and the staff
To talk about
come
those
up with
things.
new ideas, like it's
Of how
because
to
I
use
think, for
those
example, trading. You know, you see an incendiary, throw a
favors the
Molotov,
tees, yeah.
right? Like it favors the tees
Yeah.
because the duration has been
The 2
shortened as
seconds
well.
is huge, yeah.
Yeah, you know, like that's massive.
Yeah.
You can just trade it and it works so much better. So you need to be more careful if you're CT, how you use it. And I think people take that into account. So
Yeah.
the timing
Hold on a little
change
bit longer.
now. How
Yep.
do you use the incendiary? But also when the molly comes, you know when that your incendiary is shorter. So like where you're going to throw the HEs changes, where the T can be if you want to peek, like extinguish the molly and flash and peek, do something like that. It also changes. I think you catch that like
You
pretty
still
quick.
see some players get a little bit caught out if it's like a more on the fly incendiary they throw and it gets disrespected because they think it's going to spread and cover that area.
Yeah.
And because now with the incendiary on like B lane on Ancient, for example, if you're the first spawn, you can run through it, you barely take any damage. Same thing as if you rush B and you have the best spawn and the CTs throw that incendiary. It's so much shorter. You feel that you can get through it. Like as long as
Sure.
your flashes are good and they're not taking that initial fight,
like one or two ticks shorter. You
that's
know,
fuck
than-
all. Like, yeah, it's pretty. It's look.
I feel like a lot of the round we've been analyzing as well. I feel like a lot of the mid round pops are coming back into play, like from the T side at least. You know, we saw a couple of Inferno today. I think it was Liquid, you know, popping out of apps with a minute and 12 seconds left of the round. And I think that's a counter product of people want to hold on to the Molotov and hold on to the grenades, because as you're saying, like, if you just trade grenades back and forth, it's going to favor the T side over time. So you have a scenario where you have more opportunities now, I think, as a T side to make those surprise pops once again, because you're aware that they don't want to use the smoke, they don't want to use the Molotov too early in the round.
Yeah.
Right? And we're seeing more and more of that from the T side. So it makes it a bit more dynamic in that
I
regard.
think there's a combination of that, as well as because the CTs are so active now that they know what space they have to take of what you take. So it's not that I'm saying that teams aren't defaulting. I just think that there's a little bit of a change in that approach. They'll still have like extremity players, right, to either apply the pressure or make it look like something, but there'll be more of a directive from the pack. And the pack's ready to capitalize on, like, if they go for this aggressive maneuver on the map, we're ready just to fucking, like, if they're going 2 pushing A ramp on Mirage and your A ramp player gets that information, well, they're piping up connected knowing that the AWPer is probably jungle or over towards ticket, or it may be in sight. And then you can capitalize and take so much more space instead of it only being like one connector guy and a cat guy and maybe the second. They're people seem a bit more ready to like pounce and initiate with those little cores a little bit more.
Sure.
So look, I don't know, it's not every round, but it's just some rounds it feels like it's a bit more of a direct
But
approach.
the T side trend was also trending upwards before the Molotov update, right? Maps were getting more and more T
I think
sided.
some were.
Yeah,
but
but
now-
mostly, you know, yeah.
Kind of swap.
Now that it's 6 out of the 7, that's kind of crazy.
It's the worst it's ever been. Or
Well,
worst, you know,
Anubis makes sense, and Dust 2. Dust 2 was, I say, always T-sided,
sure.
but sometimes it would be 9-6, 8-7 on the half, right? Like, it wasn't like it was necessarily blowout halves. But so Dust 2 being T-sided makes sense. Anubis being T-sided makes sense,
yeah.
right? But then when you start adding on Inferno, like you mentioned, it definitely trending in that way.
You also have to realize if a half is 7-5 for the T's, that's almost like 60% T-sided map.
Yes.
It's just a couple of percent, so it's probably like 57 something, right? 7-5 half is if the CTs win, or if you on the other side you win the pistol,
Yeah.
and it doesn't. It's
Let me
not a
see
big deal. I think like if you look at like the percentages compared to CS:GO, you will see that every map is like a couple of percent T-sided. But if you add into that the fact that it's MR12,
Do we know what the pistols like? Is a T-side pistol? Are you more likely to win those than the CT side pistols? Because in that
No, I
sense,
have no
with MR12, that's going to screw the whole percentage of what you do and what you don't.
So the most T-sided map from this was Inferno with 62.6%. Vertigo was basically tied at 62%. And then the next would have been Anubis, 59, then Ancient, 54, Dust 2, 50.7, so barely. And
I don't think really like, I don't know. I just have the feeling that each game is different.
do you mean
It's-
each, like literally each match?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
because it all depends on who wins like the key rounds, because there's fewer rounds now, those rounds matter more. The Furia Liquid game on Dust 2, right? It was 8-4 for Liquid first half, then Furia wins it 7 in a row to make it 11-8, and then Liquid takes to OT and or wins in regulation. I don't remember, but that all happened because Furia won the pistol. Cello got a 4K, I think, and a defuse. He bought an op. Liquid forced. He got an entry. They even got one more, and then they decided to keep fighting, and they fuck up that round. Liquid wins it. Obviously, you reset 1400. They force. They lose on 3-1. So then it's 1-0, 1-1, 2-1. On 3-1, they have like the next gun round where they don't have an op because they have 4400 because of the loss bonus, because they got reset. So they get a bunch of M4s. They have to do something aggressive. Liquid expects it. They punish them, and all of a sudden you're 5-1 down because of that. Like that's half of the half has gone to shit because you fucked up one round where you had an advantage, and you just actually, even in the end, there were 3v3. Cello was outside B, like the off angle with the op through doors, watching B, and he missed the first guy. Twist, I think, nailed him, and that's when they lost the round. If he hits that shot, they probably win. And it's a completely different story. So it's like, I don't think it really matters that much in terms of maps or anything. It's just who are the better teams and not fucking up. I think we've seen, for Furia especially, it's been the bane of their existence, this tournament, like losing those second rounds and just their economy being in the shitter.
Let me ask you a cool economy question.
A cool question.
I know. I don't say that line.
Something you dreamed about?
He's going to
or-
ask a format question
fantasy.
next.
Yeah, format question is coming
Okay.
next. Prepare yourself.
Okay.
Liquid did this today in both their series.
I
And
hate
think,
it.
I think the first team that I
Talking
saw
about
do
keeping
it
the
was
MP9?
Furia
Furia,
did
the
it,
MP9 buy in
Vitality did it as
round
well
3,
yesterday,
right?
or today. Vitality
Yeah.
I
did
think
it
it's
today.
kind of cool.
So here's the thing. What they do is they eco the second round by just a pistol, no armor, no nades, no nothing. And then in the third round, they buy small armor MP9s, maybe a nade here and there, right? Depending on who has how much money. The first time, I think, when I saw Furia did it, I didn't like it because the opper wouldn't have enough money for the op with the loss bonus, right? If he doesn't get a single kill with the MP9, which sure, you may count on that. Maybe you don't. It
Okay,
would be
I
tough
got
for
you.
someone
I
to
see what
swap
you
with
mean,
him as well. So I would be okay with that only in a scenario where if you lose the round and you don't get any of the kills, like you still have enough money for like a proper buy. Because if you're doing all that and you lose the round and then your next buy is not ideal, you again
No, but
have
that's-
like two
that's-
MP9s.
You haven't, but
That's
you
the
have
whole
enough for
point,
the
though.
buy.
That's the whole point. Is the next round, round 4. If you do the MP9 buy in round 3, you're sitting at like
You have a full buy.
2,000, 2,200, and then you
Yeah.
get what, like 2,900 or something like that, or
So what? 1900,
14
1900 into the second round, right?
yeah.
2400 into the third, 29 into the fourth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
29.
You get plenty of money to buy even if you lose it, which is
Yeah,
why
but MP9 and small armor is 1850.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to be a little bit. I think.
Well, you have rifles, right? You don't have the op.
I
Maybe.
guess it's map dependent as well. You
Yeah.
know, certain maps.
It
you
wouldn't
can
be
get
Because
away
I
with
think I
all
saw
that.
Furia do it on.
I think
maybe
here's
not
what I
Dust
think
2,
about it. I
maybe
think it's
Anubis.
kind of a cool thing right now. I think if teams notice that you're a team that loves to do it and does it frequently, they can plan.
It just
for
needs to be another option.
But it is going to eventually become another option where if you're in a half, like I think it's a really cool buy in like a situation where you're up big.
Yeah,
and you don't want
Vitality
to
were
risk
up-
all your economy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Vitality were up 12-0, right? So you guys wouldn't have seen this. Vitality were up 12-0. They went to the second half. They lost the pistol. They lost the second. They did the MP9 round, and
Yeah.
they almost won that, I'm pretty sure. And then they went into a rifle round. It took them a while to close. It was
Unrelated,
the
giving
13-6.
flashback to what we spoke about with Yakinda keeping the MP9.
Oh my
for
God,
Liquid
bro, I
today. I think
fucking
the
lost
scoreline is 11-9 for
Yes,
FaZe,
FaZe,
I
yes.
believe.
And it was 11-4 11-4 or
Yeah, 11-5
or
yeah.
11-5,
Something like that.
and Liquid just won like 4 rounds in a row on CT
Yeah.
side Inferno.
Yeah, Kinder keeps the MP9. He can buy
No,
an M4.
he doesn't keep it.
Oh, he
He
buys
buys
the
the
MP9. Sorry,
MP9.
buys the MP9. He could have
Instead
bought
of buying a
M4.
rifle.
Yes,
Banana.
What,
Inferno,
full
CT
util
side.
and everything?
yes.
He
He has. They have money for whatever.
Nah,
Nah.
Jason,
Oh,
nah.
come on. It's
The
good.
thing is,
Just
you're
try
not
it.
that brave.
I dare you.
trying to-
I double dare you, motherfucker.
You're not that brainwashed, Jason. Come on.
No, I'm not. But I'm trying to just.
The thought
I
process.
like to put myself into like the position of like, why would this be a logical thing to do?
Well, because he's going to go
And he's gonna
aggressive
be
down
aggressive,
banana.
right?
Sure.
Yeah, but
And when
you're
that doesn't work, then
yeah.
what?
you're still
Which
going
it didn't, by the way.
It didn't work.
No.
Yeah, but you're still going to have more output with the M4 anyway. Even
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I
It's just the
understand that you
mobility
can
that he
move and
wants,
shoot.
right?
Yeah, sure, but like still.
But
the
don't
output-
you have a play in your playbook for when you have an M4?
Yeah,
Well, then don't go for that play when you have money for an M4.
I didn't
Do
like
something
the
else.
veto
Yeah.
by them. I didn't. When I saw the veto,
I didn't either. They
I
got
was-
their phase got 3 best maps.
Yeah, I don't
Or-
understand that.
Not best maps, but
Comfort maps.
yes.
Yes. And I looked at it and I went, look, you saw them struggle on Dust 2 against Falcons. Play fucking Dust 2,
Sure.
right? I know that you had close games as Liquid, but go to you have Ultimate, and I think Brokey's a good
Or
AWP as well.
Ancient.
Yeah, or Ancient. I don't know why they were
Because-
scared of
yes,
Ancient
because
against
the
FaZe,
Ancient
FaZe.
one was-
FaZe has good. It's there. They have 83.5% win rate if you look the last 3 months. But it's like overtime wins. They lost to NIP on the map at Blast.
Well,
So
they
I
lost
think,
to on Inferno too, didn't
and
they?
even Kerrigan was
Or they
saying
win
like, bro,
Inferno.
if you look at our map pool, like
It's shit.
all our
yeah.
stats are shit because they've been losing a lot. You know.
I think Liquid would pick Ancient had they not had the game versus complexity today on Ancient where they were struggling. Like, because they looked like shit in that game. I know they ended
Yeah.
up winning,
that's a good
but they looked
point.
like shit.
Yeah.
Had they not had that game today, had it just been a best of 3 against FaZe, I think that video would have been
I
different.
thought it was going to be their home map.
they're just
Like,
bullying
I thought
Justin.
Ancient
on
was
it.
going to be
could've
their home map.
Could still be, but they look rough against complexity.
That's mean.
What did he say?
So they're
Nothing.
just bullying Justin on the map
Oh.
because
On Ancient?
They hit complexity of use the A bomb.
Oh, okay. No, I saw a couple rounds where he was rotating back in after he started that
they weren't
Hauser
abusing- they
Deagle
weren't- He
round.
was just trying to take a jab at you. They weren't abusing Justin. They were abusing the setup and the way that Liquid opened rounds.
No, I was
They're
a bit.
abusing
and
Justin, for
Justin.
sure.
I was a bit disappointed with Justin on that Ancient game.
Kinder
against
was there. They
Complexity.
wouldn't try that.
He should have got. He should have got more kills in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
You know, he should have got multi kills in
But
most
bro,
situations.
he
No,
delivered
bros
in
on
that
Australis.
series.
I know they look the
I
same.
know, but he delivered in that series, JKS.
The level.
Got him.
Justin delivered in that series. Like he had quiet stretches and he didn't get a lot of action on T sides. He was sometimes a little bit late, but like he won like a couple 1v2s. He had a couple critical kills in huge situations. Like
It's
Impact
fine.
was-
Chad is
Impact
already
was there.
disassociated. You don't need to cuddle.
No, it's not
coddle
for
him.
Chad. I'm doing this for Justin. I thought
Oh,
Justin
you
was
think
actually
Justin listens to anything?
Nope.
Yeah.
That guy,
Anything.
In the off chance,
he doesn't. It wouldn't
We'll
listen.
clip
It's back
this
to
and
him.
post the
Who
clip.
cares?
Maybe he
Knows
sees
that
the
I had his
clip.
back.
And what if he does?
And you know me, I'm desperate for that kind of love from all of the players in this industry.
Yeah, definitely.
Weirdo.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Jace is so strange.
Uh,
Fuck, I know.
37, huh?
Yeah, that's the one. You'll be here one day.
I'm not sure.
What do you mean?
How old are you now?
29.
Okay, so you got
Yeah,
like
you're 8 years.
You're on your way.
7-8 years left.
Mate,
That's
these
It's a
are
long life.
these-
What are you
Yes,
gonna do in
fuck, man.
7 or 8
I have
years?
no fucking idea, man.
training for an Ironman right now?
No, I'm training for the World Championship in cycling, and then
Okay.
Ironman next year. Yeah.
Oh.
Are you the
apologies.
David? Are you the David
I fuck
Goggins?
up, I guess.
Of
Esports?
Counter-Strike?
Have Counter-Strike esports? Yeah, I will be one day. Yeah.
Do you want to get
Do you listen
jacked?
to him when you run?
What if we do
No.
this? What if we get Pimp jacked and he fights Pasha?
I'd be down.
And we're the promoters.
You're the promoter.
Yeah, we'll commentate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be down.
We
Give
have
me
fucking
give me
Jason
3 or 4
O'Gay
years. You know.
over
I gotta.
3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I gotta finish my bike shit first, then Ironman, then I'll fuck Pasha up. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I like that. We've got his 2027 schedule.
We are in Cologne.
And that's when you'll be 32.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, but
well,
Pasha's older, so he's fine.
Exactly.
It'll be
You'll always be older. That's how age
Yeah,
works.
that is, that is.
It'll be like Logan Paul versus Tyson or whoever.
Which never happened. It was. It wasn't Logan. It was the other
Jake.
one.
Jake Paul?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Why didn't it happen?
Hasn't happened. I think there was something wrong with Mike Tyson.
Yeah, he's 60
I'm
something.
surprised.
Surely.
He had to, I think they rescheduled it though.
He's
I don't know.
60 something.
I don't really
Probably
keep up with the
got a
influencer
fucking
box.
bad
Beating up
day
an old
getting
man,
out of bed. I don't know what
Yeah.
the fuck.
Okay.
Oh dear.
What else is there? Oh, yeah. Complexity.
No. I don't
Yeah,
wanna
let's
do
go
it.
there.
I
Let's
don't
go
want to
there.
do it this time.
Why not?
The table smashing
It's a
from
long story,
Hauser.
Jacob. I don't want to get you
Oh,
involved.
he wants to go into this.
Okay. Yeah.
I
Not to-
actually, no, I don't.
No, Yanko does. Yeah, because Yanko got a lot of flack on social media.
That didn't make any
Yes.
fucking
For
sense.
what?
It was such a humble. It was just a normal.
No,
take, you
it
know?
was because what I tweeted, and I didn't like. I tweeted like doom instead of like thinking through it.
Okay.
Basically,
then I
they're
didn't
calling him a hypocrite because Nico does table
Yeah,
slams
so
too.
it's like-
the
so-
Halsey thing,
So
yeah.
of course, all the people, no one reads the article and watches the segment. They just
No,
read
no.
the headline on the website,
My
and
people.
they tweet at me, right? So people
Okay.
are like,
Headline
"Oh, but
readers.
what about Nico when he does it?" And I replied like, "You really like comparing Nico to Halsey? They're not in the same galaxy, right?"
Sure.
Where people thought I meant like they're not the same players, so Nico is allowed to do it because he's the better player. But I meant they're not in the same galaxy in terms
Of
of
reaction.
that.
Sure.
Because were you doing that game with me?
Halsey
Like,
does it after every round.
when he was like that was a Dust
Yeah,
2. They played
yeah,
Dust 2
yeah,
against
yeah.
someone, and bro, it's like for the most ridiculous shit
Yeah.
that you're getting frustrated. And I was getting so much shit, and that was the day that G2 played Saw, where Nico was just laughing when they were getting like triple naded on Inferno and all this shit. But that was my point, guys. Was that
He's getting
the
one
way
guy.
He saw Deadpool
the
2
way-
days ago, and he's breaking the fourth wall.
the way
Oh,
he's
no.
the way he's doing it, it's like it's not. First of all, I hated it when the players did it, and my players always hated it when people did it. And that's not the only thing that's bad. What's even worse is the passive aggression. When you have a guy who just
And the tone of voice.
yes,
tone of
and
voice, yeah.
what are we? What was? And then they stop mid sentence. Like that's even worse, maybe than just
Getting to the point.
hitting
Yeah.
hitting the table. But there's a difference between a guy is in like a 1v3 and it was really or a 1v4 and all of a sudden he loses at the very end 1v1 and he's like, fuck,
Oh, are you okay?
like it's a bit it's frustrating. Like compared to the round has just started and I got fucking
Yeah,
tagged
yeah.
by a scout or killed, and I have a scout and they're full buy, we're half buy, and you're like,
I mean,
bang.
I'm on your team. I saw him in Copenhagen as well, and it was way worse than it was here. I think even
Yeah,
in
it was.
Copenhagen they probably have talked to him, and probably he said himself that he's working on it. He's thinking about it. I think he also. I think it was James who did an interview with him, and he kept asking him and then asked him one more time about the slamming the desk. And also you could see on his face that he knows it's an issue, right? And
Sure.
he knows it's something maybe a bit vulnerable.
Do you want
him-
to slam
him as well.
James, maybe?
Maybe, and I wouldn't really fault him for that. But, but like the third time he was like, okay.
Yeah.
But in Copenhagen it was way worse. And it was like, it's, as you said, like there's different scenarios where you can do it. If you're in a 1v2 clutch, you lose and you're like, get out with the frustrations, who cares? But Holzerg had a round here as well when I was standing behind him observing. It's a 4v4, I think. He then dies, and it's a 4v3, and they're still very much in the round. He slams his disc, and then he starts yelling in Norwegian. And it's just like 2 or 3 sentences in Norwegian, while the mates are still playing next to him, And there's different ways of doing it, and different occasions where it's okay,
And the fucked up part is they've already said the teammates don't mind it. I even had someone from their team where I was like just chatting with them privately said we did check with the players. They like don't mind it, but it's like then those players are fucked up in a way, like you can't then if that doesn't bother you, then there's something wrong with you in a sense. This
But
sounds
I
fucked
think
up.
they
But
all
what I
tilt
want to
on
what
that
I want to
team.
say is, Chad, they're losing all these 5v3s, 5v2s. They're crumbling every fucking game.
Not as
almost
bad
they
as
play.
Liquid.
They fall apart. They crumble. No, for Liquid it just happened this one time. Well, for this Liquid lineup. For Liquid it doesn't work many times, but. Like obviously something is the issue. Maybe you should look at that. Maybe it's one of the issues. I'm not saying it's the main issue. I'm not saying it's the only issue.
I want to point something out.
But you can't tell me that a guy who does that, and because obviously it's affecting you in some way
Yeah.
that you are reacting to it. If it didn't affect you at all, you would have no reaction to it. You would just say too long, and that would be it. The sole fact that it's affecting you in any way is bad, because minor shit like that should not be affecting you. You need to have the fucking memory of a goldfish where every new round is a new opportunity.
Well, he
Forget
said-
what happened.
wasn't there a
You
quote-
can't bring it
Yanko,
back.
wasn't there a quote that came out from him saying that it helps him reset faster?
Bullshit.
No, I think that too. But I want to poke you on this.
That's just a spoiled person trying to excuse its behavior.
I want to poke
It
you on
looks
this.
like he
though.
looks like a man child when he does it.
Yanko in this episode doing the esports double down. Just
Yeah, but
love
this
it.
is what I want to poke you on. When this was happening at EWC, and Elige was the one tilting off the face of the earth. I think it was EWC.
Yes, I did say it.
You
yeah.
were in Elige's corner.
Yeah, I think I was also with Jacob on that on the desk.
Why am I involved in this?
No, but people were saying like he's contributing to the problem, Elige, at that point. And my point was, dude, at this point, they're fucking up this so many times. He's the most experienced player, right? He's the kind of leader of that team in a way, right? Like at some point, the only thing that's left is to get angry at your teammates and like try something else, because obviously you've been trying to play nice the whole time, and I know they've discussed this 100 times, these situations, and pointed out what they could do to improve it and so on and so on. And then some people apparently still fuck up. At that point, what can you do then?
Now
just
I want to
sort of let
pivot.
it out?
Now I want to pivot to Jason. Jason, when you were coaching Liquid, Elige being a passive-aggressive Nancy in those moments contributed to a negative environment. Correct or not correct?
Okay, I'm glad you asked that question. That was actually exactly what I was going to transition into.
There we go.
Yeah, that was my. Yeah, well done. I was going to say, I was going to say, for having coached Elige on Liquid for like this time that he's been on Complexity, from the outside, it very much appears that he's kept it well within check. That's always been,
Okay.
That's always been a weakness of John's game. Like, I think like Elige is such a weird person for me to talk about in the sense of his career as a player. Like, I feel like we should have conversations about Elige as one of the best riflers and players that we've had in Counter-Strike of all time. But he's always had this weakness of where his mentality, it just has such a negative effect that it overshadows how good he is inside the server.
Sure.
And I think that's what's kept him back from being like held in conversations about the greatness of Counter-Strike. And I think for the most part, he's kept it in check. I think the cracks are beginning to show. And I think to your point, it's entirely at some point, yeah. At some point, it is just like, guys, what the fuck? How many times do we have to go over? Like, Complexity loses some mind-blowing rounds.
Yeah, and it happens time and time again.
Mind-blowing
And I'll be the first guy to say that that's what's been the final thing in the last couple of years up until recently. Maybe that's been holding Nico back as well.
Sure.
It's the emotional side of it. Sometimes getting too into the game. Like, you want to win so much that like you're just too intense, bro, right? Like you try to do too much and you force things instead of letting the game come to you, right? And the frustration was way more palpable with him, I don't know, 3 years ago than perhaps it is now. That comes with maturity and with experience and realizing, what's the better path to go forward.
I think the Elige thing is like, I think part of the reason why I feel like his frustration is fine and justified at the moment is when I watch his game, it feels like he very much recognizes and feels like he has to be the one to make plays at all times.
Yeah,
because
but
it feels like the rest of his team is playing every match as if it's the group decider to get into the playoffs and are reserved.
But there was this at Blast where he completely checked out of like a second map in a series.
Yeah,
it was like Nuke or whatever.
Something
he was
happened.
just
Yeah,
fucking.
yeah.
He was out of it.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that like the Halzok stuff. Look, from my perspective, I don't have a hard opinion on this either way. This is when I'm casting and I'm watching it. For me, it is entertaining as fuck.
It's fun as hell.
And I love pointing it out because it's something that I get to talk, and I can just laugh about it, and like, and it's and everyone can see it,
and it paints a pretty picture for the viewers.
You've got to be fucking blind if you can't see the reactions. We do a great job of catching these camera shots, but to grab the ball from Jason and to handball it to you, Jacob, as someone who played with Elige.
He's got his wooden spoon out tonight.
Did you ever want to fucking give him a quick little 1-2 snap based off of some of his remarks?
John? Yeah, we wanted to kick him many times.
Hey, now we're cooking.
There was many conversations within Liquid at the time being where obviously he was he 17, 18 back then when I played with him? He was very young, like very young, very immature, like the rest of us for that matter as well. So don't really hold that up against him. But we had Nitro and we had Elige on the team, and there was certain points within that period where it was one or the other. It was like either we keep Nitro or we keep Elige, and we were all every single time we came to the conclusion we would rather play with Nitro and kick Elige. And the main reason was that whenever you tried to communicate with him, whenever you were playing with him, like passive aggressiveness was his way to deal with everything. We lose a game, it'd just be Elige left the team speak straight away. We would have a team conversation about something. It could start very lighthearted, it would maybe be about me and Hiko, being bad at a bomb site or whatever. And then someone would say, maybe John could also help out a little bit. And John would be like, how? And we'd be like, maybe if you would help us off our flash once in a while. No, I can't do that. It's like, John, maybe you need to listen. Fuck it, I'm leaving. And then he'd be out. So it's like, it was that bad back then. At least how I remember it. But as Jason said, to your point as well, I even, from speaking with Steve and Joker as well, like even years after I left, he was getting better and better and better and better. And I think now, at least in Complexity, as I sense it, he's 10 times better than he was back then, because he was almost almost unplayable.
That's his hurdle throughout his career is getting over that, and it's been a constant struggle.
Fuck, I want a
That's
company.
his
I want
Magneto.
I want a company with that guy. I should probably be a little nicer to him.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, man.
I didn't mean it.
You got
It's all content.
refrag codes that you want us to get out of this one?
Shit.
Yeah.
oh,
No,
the
I
wooden
mean,
spoon at an all-time high right now.
It's a fair conversation, but I don't want to focus on it. Like John has like an interesting way of thinking about the game in a very
He's the smartest guy I've ever met.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He's very, very intelligent, and the way that he like organizes, the way he thinks about Counter-Strike is super unique and and it lends itself to. It's one of those situations where I feel like you don't get John being as good as a player as he is now if you don't take it along with like some of the struggles that come
Sure,
along with it.
sure.
Like you have
Keep
to
it
have
up,
those.
Elish.
Yeah.
It's entertaining as
And-
fuck.
But
I
to
love
be
it.
to
He's
be
a fucking
fa-
beast.
To be fair, I would fucking lose my mind if I were John in complexity. We speak about the way they're losing right now. I think the way they're set up from the beginning of the round with JT as an in-game leader, like some of their openings, some of their strats, some of their getting into bomb sites are some of the best in the world. Like
Yeah.
world-class Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
When you're in a 3v3 and you see Grim, Floppy, and sometimes JT or Haltberg alive, you just know they're going to find a way to fuck it up. You know? And we saw that today against Liquid as well. It was a 4v2, even worse than the phase one. It's basically unloosable. Haltberg boosted on, is it the A or the B bomb side of the nation? Can never remember.
Hey,
There we go. Boosted on the A bomb side just when you get out. JT, the perfect flank coming in from behind. It's a 4v2. You're coming in from CT spawn, getting a 1-for-1 trade. It's unfucking losable. The only thing Haltberg has to do is just not touch his keyboard
Not
at
peek.
all. Not peek. Don't do anything stupid. And they win the round. And what do they do? Both Grim and Haltberg get the same brain bleeding at the same time, peek out, die, and then JT is looking like the fool. And you just know people at home will be like, why is JT not closer? Why is he so...
Yeah, why is he-
Yeah.
And it's
An
just
idiot.
two brain-dead teammates on the other side of the bomb site, right? If
I
I were
agree, yeah.
Elise and I would go through that, and sure, it happens once in a while. It happens to all of us when we're playing Face It, you name
yeah,
it.
but it happened to a
It's
blast.
But you
every
know-
yeah.
freaking
But you know
game.
what's the problem? That's a tier 2, tier 3 player move.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's fine when they first joined the fucking team.
Sure.
I mean, Grim was on Liquid before that. Halzerk was
Coached
on,
by Jason, by the way.
well, what was their name? Dignitas before that. But it's like after a year
Swedish
of being on a team
retirement,
like
man.
Complexity, you should have learned that's not the play. Like you should have learned to see the big picture of the round. You know that JT is on the flank. You just need to, entertain. You just need to
Keep
the
their
carrot.
attention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the carrot. Hey, we're here. Come
Dangle it a
kill
little
us.
bit, baby.
Come kill us.
Yeah.
We're here. Hey, we're here. Not like full swing and take the fight because you feel like you have a good swing. Like, you have good timing to peak now and you'll get the kill. You don't need to get the kill. You
Yeah.
don't need that to win the round. Like they're still looking at what play can I make? What can I do? What can I do? Instead of like, what should I do or not do for us to win the round? And sometimes
I
you just
think
fucking chill.
That's a perfect way to encapsulate it.
But just to end, if they haven't learned that by now, some of these guys, get new players.
That's a good encapsulation. I was going to say it's a good example of, I think, what holds North American Counter-Strike back is I think there's a distinct lack of understanding the big picture of a round.
Always have
The
been.
big picture of a
Yeah.
round and what is the best play to make the round turn into a victory versus being inside the server at your computer and saying, I need to make a play right now. Like, what is the play I make?
Are you thankful for Ikindar coming and learning you guys, teaching you about macro?
Yeah, he's learned us really well.
Now, Jason,
The
we want to
savior.
make sure that we don't
Actually,
use
I
your
think-
conversation about North American Counter-Strike. We want to give you the platform, and as some of our
Yeah.
listeners know, you might not push the agenda as much as you should. So we want to make sure that we give you all of the space that you would
Fucking
like
this
to
guy.
talk
He's
about
just
this.
like, he's just
I love
setting
it.
up, isn't he?
How
Keep
much
going.
would now, Jason? How would
don't
you
wanna
like
talk
us
about
to
that either,
facilitate
so-
this conversation?
No,
I don't want to. I don't want to get in the way of this.
Hey, look, we're all good. North American Counter-Strike, it's going to heal.
Don't forget, this is
It's gonna
the
take
final
time.
thing you do before you fly home.
It's gonna heal.
Really soak it in.
Yeah,
I just wanna-
This is the joy of my event right now.
I just
No,
want to make
it's-
sure that all of our listeners are being served.
I have no grand statement on North American Counter-Strike at the moment.
As the flag bearer for North American Counter-Strike, that is your sign off.
It's going to heal.
Okay.
It's going to take time.
Wonderful.
It's going to
Said
take
that for
patience.
7 years.
Can
man.
we glaze Navi a little bit?
Wait, I have one
We
thing I
can.
want to get into before.
Is it about North
before we
American
start.
Counter-Strike?
It's not about North American Counter-Strike.
What's it about?
It's about G2.
Okay.
G2. Yanko's listening.
Who are
I
they
think,
kicking?
can we talk about the Taz situation?
Yeah.
Well,
We
what he did was he
Enlighten
broke-
me.
He
Enlighten
broke
me.
the-
I've
he-
only read the headline here.
he broke
There was
the rules.
yeah,
He
there
broke the
was
rules.
No timeout. At some point during the game, the players apparently. So this is what I read from on Twitter. Apparently, at some point, the players, while they were up an ungodly amount over pain, started were trolling in comms and saying they didn't remember a smoke to a tactic that was called. And I'm just gonna say I might get this story, some of the details of it.
Make
wrong.
sure you get it right.
Just glance it right. But Taz pointed at a sheet on camera,
Okay.
pointed at a sheet
In front of
gestured at a
Snacks,
sheet
like,
that Snacks
okay,
in front
this
of
is
Snacks,
this
like,
right,
hey,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
the one. This is the one you're supposed to call.
Okay.
And was given a warning by ESL. I'm assuming that that's coming with a fine as well.
ESL has confirmed that G2 coach Taz received a warning during the elimination series against Pain after breaching the tournament's communication rules. While the first half was underway, the Polish coach was seen pointing at what appeared to be a strat sheet at the end of a round. We can confirm, this is a quote from ESL, we can confirm we are aware of the situation and can confirm that Taz received a warning as per our rulebook during the game versus Pain Gaming.
I think it's obviously,
Sorry. Well,
Nah.
sorry.
At least it
I'm
wasn't
just watching.
Louder
I'm
with
just watching.
Crowder.
No, I think it's obviously like something that
not even a joke. That was a good in joke.
That was a good in joke. No, I liked
Give me
it.
some credit.
Yeah, but what do you want me to say?
Haha.
Iron your shirt, Jason.
I think obviously, and this bothered me when I was a coach as well, because I got not a warning like that, like an official warning, but the ref told me once, I'm I don't know, I'm talking too much after a round or something,
This is
saying.
I'll pass this around the room. You keep
No,
going.
I've seen it, saying shit and whatnot, and I literally just told him why are you giving me shit? You have Zonic fucking saying 7 sentences in Danish after Astralis wins a round. Just because you don't speak fucking Danish, you don't say shit, but we speak English in FaZe or MIBR, and you're giving me shit because I said, let's keep rolling, and that might be code word for let's keep playing fast or some bullshit like that. So
It's pretty obvious. Huh?
and I think even now when I see some coaches, I think the refs should be more strict with what coaches do, because you can't have all these different movements and all this shit.
What do you mean? We got the signal.
Where the mouse coach comes to a player and does this. What does that mean? Maybe that means when it comes to Shui and does this, that's a sign for them to do something fast. Or you have the VP coach clapping for 20 claps for whatever the fucking reason. I think it was just to annoy the opposing team. But anything that's not just nice fist bumps and good job, right? That's the thing that should be there, because anything could be a code. If you change the way you clap, could be a code. If you
Morse
said
code with claps.
something else, it could be it could be just, if let's say,
But
Maybe
hold
not
on,
with
hold on,
the.
hold on. Isn't
never
that
mind.
why-
But just for this,
This is why the valve rule is the way the valve rule is.
I was just about to say, does that open for the conversation that we can freaking change that rule? Because it's
The valve
stupid.
rule.
Yeah.
No, but
it's
this
It's
is
stupid.
an
You just
example of why we should have it.
exactly.
No,
This is not-
no, it's
open
just
up
no. The
freeze time.
ref just need to enforce it, and you can make an argument. It's probably a good argument that this should not, something like this should not be just a warning. It should immediately include a higher.
Removing the coach from the environment.
Well,
Ah,
game.
No, maybe just a.
Yeah.
But how?
I
but
don't
this is
think
the
so.
thing.
Maybe
Here's
just
the thing. I don't think what Taz did was terrible. I think as a coach, I think sometimes you are so caught up in the situation that you don't always have full thought of.
It's a rookie mistake.
Oh,
You
well,
just got too
let
excited.
me finish this little excerpt here from the Hatred TV post. According to the ESL Pro Tour rulebook, coaches are not allowed to communicate in any other way, including but not limited to shouting or non-verbal communication, touching with players outside of the specified time windows.
Wait, read that again. They're not allowed to shout?
Are not allowed to communicate in any other way, including but not limited to shouting or non-verbal communication,
So
e.g.
not
touching.
So what I said.
Shouting counts as communication.
No, but
No. Are not allowed to communicate in any other way, including in any other way. Am I reading that correct?
Other way than what?
Yeah,
I feel like
any
I'm
other
not.
way, but not limited
can I
to.
read the sentence?
Yeah. It's this one right here with
Because
the,
he's American and you don't speak English.
The way I'm reading that is it's okay for them to shout and do fist.
To be honest, bro, you just need to have normal referees.
No, this is saying
Who
you're not
will-
allowed to shout.
Yeah, but that's stupid. That's
But
the
every
valve.
coach shouts.
The
Every
valve
coach
rule is
shouts.
stupid. To expect a fucking coach to sit behind the team and show no emotion, especially at the major, is fucking stupid. And maybe that's just translated to other tournaments, but it's not done like that, and it shouldn't be done like that. You should have a ref there who understands what's too much. The coach should be allowed to get animated, to fist bump his players, to shout after they win a round and
They
shit.
need
But
Rush
he
Lee for
shouldn't
that.
be coming and doing some different fucking hand signals.
animated.
He shouldn't be saying anything except for nice and good job. right? Like he can't be having 7 different ways of saying
But then
shit.
we would need a fucking referee that speaks the language,
language
of the
of every
coach.
I was
that's
about to
there.
say-
Yeah, but it's harosh or nice or bora caralho. Like it's not. We don't have 17 languages and 34 sentences that game.
Well,
That
to be
they
fair,
can use.
Sonic is greeting Falcons in Danish when he's yelling, and that's an international speaking team, right? So how
Yeah,
would you
but
how
the
would you
in-game
enforce
leader-
it?
the
Yeah,
in-game leader knows
but
what's
bro,
going on.
like you have Danish this,
Yeah,
Danish
no,
that.
no.
You could come in and say these are like the
I don't
most
wanna be a
normal
fucking
ways
referee,
to say
yeah.
it, and that's it.
I'm
Like,
good.
It's not too hard.
I want to finish this last little bit. It says the warning will stay in place for the remainder of the tournament. If Taz is found in violation of the same rule again, he will be ejected from the game and forfeits his right to coach for the remainder of the match, per the rulebook.
The match only.
Okay, so it's a 2 warning system.
Okay.
Yeah.
2 strikes, you're out.
2 strikes you're out.
I think because it's more so meant
That's
for
good.
the communication part, like when you're maybe like talking to or like showing something. Well, I guess this would fall under that. Like when you're clearly like you've stepped over the line of what's allowed, and then because it might be just innocent and you just got too excited and you get a warning.
That's
and
essentially
after
what
that-
happened here by the looks of things.
I think it's an egregious mistake, but I don't think there was any like terrible
I don't think it
intent,
was-
an attempt to cheat or anything like that
No.
behind it.
No, but he broke the rules.
Yep, he broke the
Yeah.
rules.
Just like, you know,
And
When
according
I've-
to the rules, he got the punishment.
And
that's in
knowing
the rules.
Taz, if he were here, he'd be like, "Yep, I did something stupid."
Yeah,
I think that's what he tweeted.
that's what he
Like, I
tweeted.
made a mistake.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
I did something bad.
unfortunately for him, it was against a Brazilian team.
of
True.
course.
Ouch.
Yep. So
Yeah. That means lifeguards for the rest of his life.
he didn't
Yeah,
translate on his tweets a lot.
It's Jova for him.
Bodyguards.
Yeah. Okay, let's wrap this up.
Sure.
Mouse, just the Mouse G2 quarterfinal, maybe.
And like a bit of Navi, I want to.
Yeah,
more
let's go.
I just want to
let's-
glaze
Let's
Navi. Someone wants to glaze Navi. Yeah.
Let's start with because this is the quarterfinal and Navi is waiting in the
in
semis,
the semi, yeah,
right?
okay.
I think it's a great test for Mouse.
Well,
Bec-
stage versus a team that's on fire.
Are you not bored of testing Mouse? I feel like they've had enough tests.
I don't think so. This is the biggest because they flopped in Chengdu.
They picked
Um,
Vertigo a bunch, and I don't know why.
No.
I don't know why they picked Vertigo.
I feel Mouse have been they've been good for a long time, right?
Eh.
They've been good for a long
Well,
time.
Brolin came in.
They
What,
got
just
12 though
before-
on Dust 2.
Yes, they did.
Sure.
12-0.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. CT side.
The group stage kings.
I feel like they've had enough tests.
Yes, yeah. That's the concerning sign for me is that they didn't top the group, and that's normally where they do their best
And
work.
Vitality usually fucks it up.
But Vitality, I think, had a real good intensity to them today. Like I think.
Oh yeah,
their
you did
focus
that
was
game.
there.
We did the other game.
Yeah, yeah. I think they were there to play.
And Zai Waste in the pistol round again.
He did. Yes, he did.
Again.
It was a 1v3.
And that was on Dust 2.
Yeah.
That's how
And
the
then
12-0
Spinks-
started.
Spinks
Oh,
won a
sorry.
clutch and Flamesy won a clutch. Flamesy won 10 opening duels on
Holy
on
shit.
Vertigo.
Shit.
Like,
Wow, that got you excited, Jason.
10 opening duels is pretty fucking mental.
yeah,
Like for
I
anyone.
want- it was
It is.
a good series
Just
for
for a
Vitality.
37-year-old, it's impressive.
But I think I think I don't know. The stage is the problem. I think Malbs hasn't played on a stage, so that's the only detractor. But he looks very comfy. He looks very comfy.
And,
And I think-
Snacks
and I
hasn't
think-
been there in 10 years.
and I think
First time since
Monacy,
2016.
in Cologne.
Nico especially, but Monacy
Sean Monasha.
play. I mean, those two like can carry him through stretches. If he struggles, like you have
Hunter
to-
can play well as well in that
Yeah.
environment.
But I feel like Hunter's been activated by how well Malbs is playing. So I guess my wonder would be if Malbs does get on stage and have a bad match and a rough match and has a tough time getting those kills.
Can't be
would
any worse
Hunter
than the
still
Mouse
has him
guys,
back
you
full?
wonder, right?
Yeah, in theory, yeah.
Yeah, because
But-
like the Mouse guys.
But we all
you
know like Mouse is like they're like
No,
old
but
school-
Mouse now
old
has
school
to. It's been
Astralis.
like Jacob
They
said,
have
like
to
they've
play
had
now.
enough
Yeah,
of
yeah.
experience, at least similar to this, where now they have to perform,
Yeah.
right? And okay, they're going up against a G2 that looks very hot at the moment, but that's a G2 that changed 2 players, changed an in-game leader, right? Has had maybe between 10 and 15 days of practice with the new lineup because they
They
played
get
so
2
many.
more tomorrow and Thursday.
Yeah,
I think G2 deletes him.
Really? You think they keep up the form?
Yeah.
I think it's a zoo.
Not 13
Really?
not 13 ones and shit, you know.
We'll see.
why the fuck not?
Yeah.
I think that
But like
if
13 sixes,
if they
13
get
sevens.
bogged down, like if Mauser find a way to slow the game down a little bit, then maybe. But if Mouse try and play like aggressive and in their face, I think they just get paddled.
I mean, here's the thing. As we said, G2 won so many pistols in these games. So it's always a strong start. It's always 3-0 up, right? And then you're running around.
Mouse
Confidence,
were terrible
you
at
get kills.
pistols.
What?
I think Mouse only won like 2 or 3 pistols for their
So it's like
their
that's
stretch.
gonna be the thing. They won't get stomped if they're able to deny some of that early momentum.
yeah.
for G2.
So like you were talking about, it comes down to each specific matchup there. But Mouse, it's a bad taste for them going into this. But maybe it's a good thing they don't skip straight to the semis. Maybe that's a positive for them. I think they'll probably play the second semi. I don't know, but I would assume
Quarter,
Mao's
you mean?
quarter. I think Mao's G2 would be the second quarter.
Yeah, I
and the
imagine
first one
so
would
as
be
well.
Saw phase.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah,
make
it
more
should
sense.
be.
Yeah.
And then Na'Vi
it's the other
waiting
way
in the
around.
wings.
It's Mouse G2 first.
I think Na'Vi will Na'Vi are the team who ice out G2, who slow the game down and make G2 then play on their terms. So if G2 want to, I think G2 could handle Maus, because Maus in the past when they've gone up against FaZe have been like, yeah, we'll just play confident. Like that's how they beat it, and then they get smashed. Right?
I feel like the way you just described, you said like there's certain calls you can make in a playoff arena that you can't make in a group stage. I feel the way G2 have been playing in the group stage is exactly like you play in a playoff.
Yeah.
Aggressive on the CT side against Spirit. They're just running them down every single round. Fuck the sound cues. Fuck every. They've been ruthless. They've been in your face every single round. They're not trying to ice out the rounds or trying to play slow or use sound cues to outplay your opponents. They just want to force the duels, and when they have those duels, they win.
Watching them beat Pain today was unreal.
So my theory in regards to that is that G2 is not going to drop in level at all going from the group stage to the playoff. Maybe Malps is going to have a little less impact if he's a bit nervous, but the rest of the teams will most likely drop a little bit down to the way they play.
Na'Vi is a problem.
Yeah,
just
Na'Vi
mentally,
is
mentally it's a problem because they've lost to them so many times, and whenever you talk to them, everywhere.
You love that story.
I don't think it's Alexi B as much as it's Blade, bro. I
think it's the other way. I think it's the core of Nico, Hunter, and Monacy when they go into that matchup knowing that they've lost that many times in a row now.
Yeah, that's also that plays a factor in it. Like they just it's not necessarily maybe the fact that they've lost so many times, the fact that they just don't feel comfortable going up against that style, right? Like, and a lot of other players that I've talked to in the content that we did and stuff, people say it's tough to play against Na'Vi because their default is so strong. It's hard to punish them. They are good at taking map control. You're playing with limited information. You always feel like you're guessing, right? Like you're just gambling, like calculated gambling and hoping for the best. You're not like playing with information and being one step ahead. You're always on the back foot when you play against them. So
I did a coach's podcast with Blade, Neo, and Cyclone. I just say that to say I think Blade is fucking fun to talk to about Counter-Strike.
Oh yeah,
guy's fucking mental.
I wonder when they're going to release that.
They threw a clip on there today.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if the full thing's out, but they threw a clip.
Yeah, they wiped the in-game video on YouTube like 2 days ago or yesterday or whatever it was. But yeah, they should throw this other one online soon. But yeah.
So
yeah, I think Na'Vi deal with G2. I think they do. I think G2 are playing awesome.
If they don't, then that's going to be such a fucking big conversation for Na'Vi and the whole best team in the world, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
If you beat them and now it's Cologne, the biggest of stages, and now you lose to them.
Yeah.
People are gonna use it for
Malps could be the difference. I feel like he could be the guy coming in.
Na'Vi still has the major.
Yeah, no, but this is we're in the now, right? The major, yeah, for sure.
But also, Jacob asked this, and it's true, and he thinks that I think like Na'Vi is twice the team that they were at the major.
Oh yeah, they're playing so much better than they were.
Yeah.
Like how good.
Ema's come back. Bit has been.
Bit and JL the standouts for me. Their output, like Bit especially, and that's before you even start talking about Wonderful, right? Like, I think that the thing that they play the best tactical Counter-Strike in the world right now. Like the way that they approach the game, they play the best. They have the best understanding of what Blade wants to do. They execute what Blade wants to do, right? And then when your individuals are delivering, like you have some of the Bit crazy moments, they look really good.
And they have mad confidence now.
Yes, they're playing with swagger now.
That's one of the things that made them twice the team that they were at the major. It's not necessarily that they're like so much better at like doing certain things tactically, just the players are playing with way more confidence. So these key fights that you have in rounds, they're winning them more often because of that confidence.
Here's the question for the room. Do FaZe have the juice? I reckon they deal with Saw. Do they have the juice to deal with Vitality?
Yes.
Yeah.
But like, no.
But
no.
I think
no.
I think it's as much as FaZe in the arena as it is that I don't trust Vitality's players.
Vitality have looked better at this event.
The problem is they don't always crumble at the same moment.
Who the Vitality players?
Yes.
But
because they were great in Pro League up until the final.
Sure.
They beat Spirit in Dallas just to lose to G2 in the grand final.
But
right? So you don't know
for them.
What?
FaZe is a good matchup for them.
Yeah, I guess.
Has been, yeah.
But it's the arena. You know,
I think. Do you really have like a set feeling on either one of these teams though? Like, with their recent history, I still kind of get the sense of like this is going to be an awesome match.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what level FaZe comes in with. I don't know what level Vitality comes. There's
Vitality
still, like,
have
an
looked
X
much
factor.
better this event than I've seen in a while.
But so is FaZe.
Well, FaZe had moments where it looked bleak and gave us
Sure.
old school FaZe. So they're living up to the trope, right? Like this is
This
they
comeback
are that
against
team.
Liquid tonight was a capstone for a fucking team in a core that is known for just like being impossible to put away.
I also realized I didn't do a single Vitality game this turn.
Yeah, and I didn't do a single Saw game. Like, I know they're in the playoffs. Like, so I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
fuck, I know. I
I
haven't
had,
have
that
to
at,
cast
I
them.
had that in Copenhagen at the major too, where it was like Gamer Legion
Yeah.
and Apex. It was like you get to the playoffs and you're casting one of them. You're like, I haven't
Paris.
seen any of their Paris. Sorry, yeah, Paris last year was like I haven't
Not like
seen
I
any
was
of their
there.
games. I haven't casted any of their games.
It gets tough. Why do you reckon they can't win?
FaZe?
Yeah.
I don't think they're playing good at all.
You're not sold.
No, not
They've
at all.
just
Not at
scraped
all.
by in
Like,
your mind.
What they did today was fantastic, and that was a magical moment. But that doesn't change the fact that they've been struggling for 4 months now. You know, it hasn't been looking great for a long, long time. And as much as I buy the Kerrigan story that they're throwing out the playbook and they're giving him the freedom to micromanage, and some players feel more comfortable in that environment, that's cool, that's fine. But that doesn't cut it to beat Vitality on a stage. That doesn't cut it to beat Saivu. You know, I still think and I still believe that you need more than, you know, Kerrigan freeing up some of the players or micromanaging a little bit more and giving more freedom in regards to that instead of sticking to the structure. And
It
Rob's-
depends on
Rob's
what this
came alive
wins.
too.
It depends on what this win has sparked.
yeah, but it doesn't change over 2 days or 3 days. He even said it on the disc, like none of the players are in form. Sure,
He
they
did say
won.
that, yeah,
he did say that.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they won today. That was nice. Maybe that sparks confidence. Maybe it sparks, you know, belief. Maybe it sparks whatever the fuck they need to tell themselves in order to have a chance of winning. But the players are still not in form. You know, that's not going to change over 2 days.
They were 1-5-3 away from 2-0 Liquid 2 times, 2-0 Falcon, or no, it was at 2-1, I don't remember, and losing 2-1 to Vitality.
lose?
And
it
they
out
were
to
good
Falcons?
about Vitality.
Did they
right?
lose them out to Falcons?
I don't think so.
No, but
it was
over
FaZe?
overtime.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it was.
No.
The first map was close,
Dust
right?
2
Dust 2
overtime.
was
Yeah.
overtime. Yeah, it
So,
was a 2-0. Yeah.
you know, like, we might be sitting here thinking something differently,
The only
but
thing they lost to was Vitality.
I guess the question is, who do you think that takes the whole thing?
I'm fucking jumping on board with G2 right now. Like the way they're
It's
playing.
so hard not to do that
Yeah.
at the moment with the way they're playing.
I don't
I'm gonna
know.
go with Navi.
Yeah.
Are you?
I'll
Yeah.
go with Navi as well.
Yeah, I think Navi's safe. I think just their tactical approach to the game is the strongest, and that means that they have the best backbone to fall back on. They're not a team who I have to say if their players all hit their shots, because I know that they're going to have a strong game plan to follow. If their players don't hit their shots, the game plan probably won't work. But
I think their mental is also so strong. You have to remember at EWC, they lose 13-1 to Maus on the first map and then demolish them on the next two. They lose to G2 the first map in overtime in the final, then demolish them on the next two maps. So even if G2 goes up to some bullshit, even if they first beat Maus and then go up against Navi and get hot or everything, I don't think Navi spirals out of control, right? I think they're able to weather that storm and then sort of tire G2 out and beat them.
it's a best of 5 final as well.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Good thing for Navi, yeah.
Yeah, I think if it works out so
If it's FaZe, they own them just off the map pool.
Yeah.
It feels like FaZe can't win a best of 5 against anyone right
Bro,
now.
I don't know. I think this conversation would change if we see FaZe make it through the quarters, the semis, and into the final. I think if we had this
Oh, yeah,
podcast,
but
you know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
they have
We'll
to
have
get
it
there
just without
first.
you.
Depends on how
yeah,
they
exactly.
do it.
That's
as well.
fine. I
Like,
just, if FaZe make it to the final, you're going to have seen some crazy cool shit out of FaZe to get there, and it's going to be like, oh, this might actually
Yeah,
be the
but
real
this
FaZe.
is the problem. We can't go into every event with like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
fucking
every eventuality.
bullshit
Right.
fairy tale story, just like the Dallas nonsense,
They
right?
fucked
Like,
that for me in Copenhagen. I thought that at the major in Copenhagen and went into the final against
And you
Navi.
took that
know,
personally.
I took that personally. I was like, Kerrigan is going to win this major. Like, it's written in the stars, of course.
Yeah.
FaZe Magic. They also, didn't they come into that major playing a little bit bleak, you know, weren't looking great in the group stage. They went 1-2, I think, and were close to being knocked out before the playoff. Come into the playoff a little bit shaky, get into the semifinal, get into the final. At that point, you think, okay, it's
They're the
FaZe
favourites,
Magic.
Beat
you know, and then
Spirit and Vitality.
beat Spirit, beat Vitality, and then they get absolutely fucked on the third map against, you know, Bit and Navi, right? So I don't really believe in that magic anymore. Sure, it happens
I
occasionally.
remember watching
but
that game in the booth with the devs, and they were like, "Hey, explain this."
Yeah.
We just looked at each other and was like, "I don't know."
yeah, can't do it.
I
Sorry,
got
guys.
nothing.
Nah.
Spirit. Do we talk about Spirit?
I don't know, man.
We
They look.
should.
They're
Are they having a roster change?
The body language looked like they were a dead team walking.
Yeah.
Dude,
Which doesn't make any sense. Why
Don-
would that be the case?
Don gave his best Shiro impression at the end of that
Oh,
game.
did he cry?
He didn't cry, but he did the whole like stare at the screen, except can't see the screen, looking through the screen,
Yeah.
eyes
Oh,
blank,
okay,
like
okay.
laughing, of like hand on the head, like ha ha ha.
Yeah.
ha, ha.
They got fisted.
This is fine. Yeah, this is fine meme.
They got absolutely fisted.
Yeah.
Depends on who wants to join. Perfecto.
Well, that would be the rumor, right?
Yeah.
That'd be perfect
But
for Zontic.
The problem is just mentally. Zontic said in an interview, and people are harping
Can't
on
fuck
it
with
like
that
he's not
roster
a native
either.
English speaker or anything. He didn't say they gave up, but it's like when you get mentally, you checked out a little bit because you feel like it's not your day. Everything's going against you. Like you're still trying to win, but you're not believing in the win as much, right? It's not the same as not trying and just completely giving up. But that's a problem because you can't have that happening. You look at the G2 game on Nuke, like G2 just had a lot of these aggressive plays that were uncharacteristic, that people would do them so many times in a row in gun rounds that were catching them off guard, right? But
Hunter
the problem,
mauled him.
yeah, that as well. And the problem is like instead of brushing it off, like Navi did against Mouse in the semifinal at
It bogged them
TWC,
down.
they just like let it get to them, and they were completely deflated on the final map where they just got fucking bullied, spanked around by G2.
You know what? So that series is obviously won, but they're like Spirit haven't like they won London. They bookend the first season, right? They won Katowice, they won London, so the two events. But when I was watching like this G2 game, and I know that they got bulldozed, and I didn't get to watch the Mongols game because I was casting the other one at the time. I
Wasn't
think.
pretty.
But the thing that I was noting in the G2 game is either G2 didn't give them a chance to have other options, or they didn't feel like after their initial plan, they don't move around the map in the same way the other top teams do. This is what I noticed about Astralis as well. Like Astralis will have an idea and they'll go and they'll do it, but the way that they coordinate within the mid rounds or whatever, it doesn't make sense.
Astralis has too many set calls.
Yes. But that's why they can be good on Ancient, because you can get away with the pattern calling more or on that map than other maps. But yeah, for Spirit, I just looking at it, it doesn't feel like there's like a B or a C plan for them to go into if Donk doesn't get the entry or if Shira doesn't get the entry. It didn't feel like it's deep enough. And normally I'd look at Spirit and think that they were
That's what
quite
I
a
feel.
good tactic team, but not really.
Have Donk playing at that level, had that been hiding some of those issues?
You think Donk became a crutch?
I think so.
Of like,
Yeah.
Well, of course.
yeah.
Yeah.
How does it not become a crutch?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just feel that maybe they're a little bit weak in a few areas there. But I don't know if Perfecto coming in fixes that, because you still only have. Well, still.
I don't.
not really
I
a
don't want.
mentality
I don't want
monster
to.
either,
I don't
is it?
want to
Like-
get into that now. Like it looked off, but it would be still fucking silly, all things considering, to make a change now, right? Like I want to see them
Well,
have a talk and all that bullshit, and
It's
then see
either
how
now
they
or
do
end
at
of
the
the year.
next tournament.
Yeah.
This
You
is
either
your
do
only
it now,
window.
you
if
still
you
have a
make a
runway.
change, it has to be now.
You have a runway
It
if
has
you
to
do it
be
now. But would Perfecto even be in
'Cause
any
you're
form?
right.
He's out fucking shopping,
There's a
buying
certain- there's a
Gucci
s-
shit.
You,
Fucking designer clothes.
you are
bro.
right.
Why are
It
you
is like,
wasting your money?
Why
on
would
this
you?
shit?
Why would you make that change? But also, like, you have to figure, like, if you're on the edge of making that change, and you go a month, and you decide to make that change in a month, just less time to
Too late
prepare for the
then.
major. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a hard place to be in.
Let me see how long we've been going for. It feels
We're
like
good. We
think-
just did
I
Spirit.
think-
We hit all the topics.
Yeah.
Fuck
I
the
think
time.
it's an hour and a half. No,
it's like an hour and 16. All right, let me turn it off.
that's all good.
All right. Hey, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Remember,
Thanks for coming, Jacob.
Oh,
Mars
hey.
Bar
Yeah,
protein
thanks,
bars.
Jacob. It's been great.
Yeah, they're great. They're great.
All right. Well, see you later.
Bye.
Big
Bye.
boss, huh?